right? So the first question: two insulated charged copper spheres A and B of identical size have charges QA and minus 3 QA respectively. There was some print mistake. This is double quotes they are given. It is minus 3 QA. When they are brought in contact with each other and then separated, what are the new charges on them? This is the question. A very simple one actually. There are two spheres. The first one is, let us say, sphere A. The second one is sphere B. Now these two spheres have charges. The first one is having a charge of QA, and the second one, B, sphere B, is having a charge of minus 3 QA. Now if they are identical and if they are brought in contact with each other, then we know that the net charge in each one will be, for example, QA prime will be equal to QB prime after touching, because they are identical spheres, and that charge will be equal to original charge of QA and QB by 2. In this case, one is positive, the other one is negative, but negative charge is higher. So if you add algebraically, algebraic sum will be minus 2 QA by 2. That is equal to minus QA. So now after the contact, each sphere will have a charge of minus 2 QA. So that is the answer. I think it is given in choice 1 of this question. So that is the answer. Okay. The next one is about lines of force. Two charges are there. One is Q2, that is on the left side, and Q1 is on the right side. So the given diagram is like this. This is charge Q2. The other charge is Q1. Now lines of force start from Q2 and end at Q1. Like this it is given. The arrow is like this. So the arrows are all like this, repeating. And here you can see that some arrows are not even terminating in the negative charge, but they are just going. Similarly, some arrows are pointing in, but their origin is not given. So it is like this. That means Q2 is definitely positive and Q1 is negative. This is the interpretation we can give based just on the diagram. Because always the lines of force start from a positive charge and end at a negative charge. So how do we define this line of force? A line of force is one along which the test charge would move. Our test charge will experience a force. So along which test charge, because test charge is always positive, so test charge will move. Positive charge it is. So along the direction in which the positive test charge will move. So that is called the line of force. So suppose near a positive charge you bring another positive charge, then this positive charge will repel it, so it will go away. In the same way, near a negative charge, if you bring a positive test charge, it will be attracted. So that is how we have to take into account this thing. So that is why here the Q2 is positive and Q1 is negative. So this is choice 1. Right. Again, 28th question also, I don't know, there was a print mistake. The sum of the 2 point charges is 9 1 by 4 c. It is not 9 1 by 4 c. It is micro symbol 9 mu c. But somehow in the print out while typing they thought it is not some wrong symbol or something. They must have thought. They corrected it as 1 by 4. It is 9 microcoulomb. Because in the sum next question and all, wherever micro is there, no change. You see 30th question 2 microcoulomb, 2 microcoulomb, no problem. But here in 28th they made a mistake. So the sum of 2 point charges is 9 microcoulomb. They repel each other with a force of 2 Newton when kept 30 centimeter apart in free space. Calculate the value of each charge. Now see here, the charges are also not given that they are equal, nothing like that is given in this question. So we have to randomly assume some charge and then do this. Okay, so basically what is given is sum of the two charges. So let the two charges be q1 and q2. Now sum of the two charges is q1 plus q2. This is equal to 9 microcoulomb. Now the force between the two charges F is given as K into the product of the two charges and divided by the square of the distance. We know that the force is given in this question as 2 newtons. So 2 on the left side is equal to K is 9 into 10 power 9 into Q1 and Q2. We can take one as let us do this. So Q2 is 9 minus Q1 or 9 microcoulomb minus Q1. That is Q2. So here we can keep Q1 as a Q1 and instead of Q2 we can put 9 microcoulomb minus Q1 divided by the distance. Distance is 30 centimeter, which is 0.3 meter. So R is given as 30 centimeter, which we can take as 0.3 meters. So it's squared here. So it's 0.09 we have to take. 0.3 into 0.3 meters. So it is 0.09 meter square. Alright, so all we want is Q1 and Q2. So the remaining things we can take to the other side. 2 into 0.09 is 0.18 divided by 9 into 10 power 9, and the right side we keep the same thing, Q into 9 microcoulomb minus Q1. Right. So the left side is going to be 0.18 by 9. So we can say that 18 into 10 power minus 2 by 9 into 10 power 9, which is equal to Q9. Let us do this, expand that also. So we can expand this as 9 microcoulomb Q1 minus Q1 squared. That is, left side will be 2 into 10 power, this is 9, right? So 2 into 10 power minus 11 is equal to 9 into 10 power minus 6 Q1 minus Q1 squared. If you bring everything to the left side, it will be Q1 squared minus 9 into 10 power minus 6 Q1 plus 2 into 10 power minus 11 is equal to 0. We have to solve for Q1. It's a quadratic equation. So what we can do is, we can use the formula minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac by 2a. That will be by root for the equation in Q1. The equation is a quadratic equation in Q1. So what we can do is, minus of b is minus 9 into 10 power minus 6. So it is now plus 9 into 10 power minus 6 minus b plus or minus square root of b squared, that is going to be 9 square is 81 into 10 power minus 12 minus 6 square 10 power minus 6 becomes 10 power minus 12 b square minus 4 a into c. So minus 4 into a is 1, c is 2 into 10 power minus 11 divided by 2 into 1, 2a is 1, so 2. This is equal to 9 into 10 power minus 6 plus or minus square root of 81 into 10 power minus 12 minus 8 into 10 power minus 11 divided by 2, which is equal to 9 into 10 power minus 6 plus or minus square root of, this is, I can write this as 80 into 10 power minus 12, the second term. I can multiply by 10, divide by 10, so that it will become 80 into 10 power minus 12. So 81 minus 80 is 1 into 10 power minus 12 divided by 2. So this is going to be 9 into 10 power minus 6 plus or minus 1 into 10 power minus 6 divided by 2, right? So that is going to be 9 plus 1 is 10. So denominator there is a 2 term. So 10 by 2 is 5. So 5 into 10 power minus 6 is 5 microcoulomb, comma 9 minus 1 is 8. 8 by 2 is 4. So 4 microcoulomb. So the two charges Q1 and Q2 are 5 microcoulomb and 4 microcoulomb. So that Q1 plus Q2 is, as given in the question, 9 microcoulomb. So the answer is 5 and 4. Right. So that is choice number 3. Right. The next question, 2 point charges having equal charges are separate. So two charges are equal. They are separated by a 1 meter distance. They experience a force of 8 Newton. What will be the force experienced by them if they are held in water at the same distance? So the charges are equal. Q1 is Q, Q2 equal to Q. So formula is F is equal to B. F is going to be K in air. F is given as 8 Newton, which is K into Q square divided by R square. In water, if they are kept, what is the force? That is the question. In water, it is going to be K into same charges, so it's okay, by the same distance, so R square. Water, we have to use water's relative permittivity, that is a dielectric constant epsilon R here in the denominator. So effectively this is going to be F air divided by 80, because ER is given as 80 for water. Therefore this is 8 Newton. So 8 divided by 80, which is 0.1 Newton. For water it is going to be only 0.1 Newton. So that is choice number 1. 29 is choice number 1. Right. 30th question, what is given here? A copper sphere of mass 2 grams contains about 2 into 10 power 22 atoms. So in 2 gram copper, there are 2 into 10 power 22 atoms. The charge on the nucleus of each atom is 29 electrons. So nucleus, there are protons, and the number of protons in nucleus for copper atom is 29. So it is 29e, that is the total charge in each nucleus of the copper atom. There are 2 into 10 power 22 atoms anyway. Now if the charge on the sphere is, total charge is plus 2 microcoulomb, what does it mean? The copper sphere has lost some electrons. That is why it has acquired positive charge. And the positive charge is plus 2 microcoulomb. Then the fraction of electrons that are removed is how many? That is what is asked. So out of the total 2 into 10 power 22 atoms of copper, some of the atoms have lost electrons, so that the sphere has a net positive charge. So not all atoms are losing electrons. Remember this, only some of the atoms. If some of the atoms lose electrons and the charge acquired is 2 microcoulomb, what is the number of fraction of electrons that are removed from the total 2 into 10 power 22 atoms? That is the question here that is asked. So here, first of all, the mass of copper is given as 2 grams. So that is mass is equal to 2 into 10 power minus 3 kilogram. but we don't even need mass here anywhere. Why? Because the number is also given anyway. The number of copper atoms, total number is, let us say, let us call this capital N. The total number of atoms is 2 into 10 power 22. These are the total number of atoms of copper present in this mass, that is 2 grams of copper. And total charge is plus 2 microcoulomb. Now how many electrons should be removed? Because each atom has 29 positive charges, now we can imagine, therefore number of electrons is, let us call this small n, which is total charge divided by the charge of the electron. Of course here there are 29 positive charges, that means one can assume 29 electrons are there in each atom. So let us call this 29 here, a factor 29 will come therefore. So total charge is 2 microcoulomb, so 2 into 10 power minus 6 divided by 29 into charge of the electron, so 1.6 into 10 power minus 19. So this is going to be, if you do it, 2 into 10 power minus 6 divided by 29 into 1.6, 46.4. 46.4 into 10 power minus 19. So you will get 2 divided by 46.4 is 0.043 into 10 power 13. These are the total number of electrons. Now out of the total fraction, how much is this, we have to see. So all we have to do is, we can write this as, of course, 4.3 into 10 power 11. So we have to do n by n. That gives us a fraction of the total number of atoms that have lost electrons to get this charge. So that will be 4.3 divided by 2 into 10 power 11 by 10 power 22. That means this is going to be 2.15 into 10 power minus 11. So this is the fraction out of the total number of atoms that has lost electrons. So that corresponds to the last choice, 2.16 into 10 power minus 11. Right. Next, 31st question. Total charge on 75 kilograms of electrons is how many coulombs? This is the question. 75 kilograms of electrons. So for this, we know first mass of the electron. Mass of one electron is 9.11 into 10 power minus 31 kg. So 75 kilogram of electrons are there. Let us say the number of electrons for this is total mass divided by mass of each electron. That will be 75 divided by 9.11 to 10 power minus 31. That will be 8.23 into 10 power plus 31 electrons. These many electrons are there. Together now these many electrons will produce how much charge? That is the question. The charge on each electron is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19. So the total charge is Q is equal to N into E, which is equal to 8.23 into 10 power 31 into 1.6 into 10 power minus 19. That is going to give you 13.17 into 10 power 12 or 1.32 into 10 power 11 coulomb. Of course this is all negative charge because electron charge, so negative signs you can add. So Among the given choices, 3 is the closest, that is 0.133, 10 power 13. Why we are getting 11? 31, 19. 31, 19 is 13 only. So we wrote here somewhat 12. So this is this is 12 only. Now when we do it, it should be 13 because we are taking one decimal down, so the 10 comes here, so it is 13. So the answer is 1.33 into 10 power 13. So choice 3 is the correct one. Next, 32nd question. If 10 power 10 electrons are incident on a substance per second, then what time would be taken by it to get a total of 1 coulomb of electric charge? So these many electrons are there, that is 10 power 10 electrons are there, 10 power 10. So how much time it would take for 1 coulomb of charge, if this is the rate at which electrons are flowing? So the total charge that is flowing, therefore, is Q is equal to the number of electrons multiplied by the charge of the electron. So it is Q is equal to N into E. That is going to be 1.6 into 10 power minus 9. That is the total charge per second, let us say. Now total charge that should be flowing, capital Q, is 1 coulomb. Therefore the time for this is per second. So the time for this is going to be T is equal to capital Q by the rate, or dQ by dt we can call this. Then we will get T. So it's going to be dQ by dt, which is equal to 1 coulomb divided by 1.6 into 10 power minus 9. That is going to be equal to 6.25 into 10 power 8 seconds. The unit is going to be seconds. Now answers, if you see, they are given in hours, minutes, all possibilities are given, but straight away 10 power 8 seconds means we can imagine it is going to be running into years only. So what we can do is, this time we can convert into years. That is, T is equal to 6.25 into 10 power 8 divided by, per day 24 hours, per year 365 days, per hour there are 3600 seconds. If you do this, the answer will be close to 20 years. Actually, first you can even do the days and then convert into this 365 thing you can do. So first you can do seconds to this seconds to hours you can do. Then you can see how many days. If you do the days, you will get 7230 days. But that is not given as a choice here. So that many days are not given, but then convert into years, you will get 20. So the choice is 2. Right. The 33rd question is, two chargeless spheres A and B are in contact with each other as shown in the figure. A negatively charged rod is brought near without contact to the first sphere. So the rod negatively charged and it is not touching the first sphere. So it is not touching the sphere A. Now, if sphere A and B are slightly separated and the rod is then removed, now charge on sphere A and sphere B is, that is the question. So we have two spheres A and B, they are touching actually. So when they are in contact, they are like a single unit actually. It is like a single charged body, because the this negatively charged object that is brought in will induce charges here which are positive, but originally the two spheres are neutral and they are now touching, therefore the other side should have negative charges. Right. Now if you keep the rod and separate it out, one sphere will retain the positive charges, that is sphere A, and the sphere B will retain the negative charges, and the rod can be now taken away. Now these charges have nowhere to flow because they are isolated. Spheres are isolated, they cannot even go to the ground. So sphere A becomes positive, sphere B becomes negative. So the answer for this is second choice. A is positive and B is negative. Right. 34th question. For a system of charges shown in the figure, find the magnitude of force on the 2 nanocoulomb charge. So there are 2 nanocoulomb, 4 nanocoulomb and minus 4 nanocoulomb. So what is the force on this? You have to find out. I think same problem we have done in the class. Only difference here is there I think both are positive 4 nanocoulombs. Here this 4 nanocoulomb is positive, the other 4 nanocoulomb is negative. So you can try and see that what is that you are getting, right? So basically maybe I will do this and show you. This charge is the 2 nanocoulomb charge and it is positive. This is the 4 nanocoulomb and that is again positive. The third is the minus 4 nanocoulomb. Right. Now what is the direction of the force on this? That is the question first. First if you take this, see this is positive, so this is going to repel on the 2 nanocoulomb. So the arrow can be like this. Now the 4 nanocoulomb will pull this one, so the force is going to be on this direction. Now the resultant force is therefore going to be like this, the direction of the resultant force. So now how to add the forces? First we have to calculate F1. F1 is what? Between 4 and 2, what is the force? That is K into 2 into 4 is 8 into nanocoulomb 10 power minus 9 into 10 power minus 9, that is 10 power minus 18, divided by the distance. The distance of separation between the charges in this is 2 centimeters. Okay. So R is 2 centimeters. So 2 into 10 power minus 2 square we have to do, meter. So 2 into 10 power minus 2 whole square. So this is going to be 9 into 10 power 9 into 8 into 10 power minus 18 divided by 4 into 10 power minus 4. This is 972 by 4, that is 18 into 10 power minus 14 9 10 power minus 5 Newton, or we can write 1.8 into 10 power minus 4 Newton. This is F1. Now F2 is on the other side, it is down. So F2 also same thing, magnitude wise it is going to be the same, but the direction is different. So F2 also magnitude wise I am writing 1.8 into 10 power minus 4 Newton. So since no question of this thing, angles are the important thing if you want to take the resultant. So let us call this FR, which is going to be square root of F1 square plus F2 square. Here F1 and F2 both are same, so I will take F square plus F square plus 2 F1 F2 again F square, the angle cos of, see, cos of the angle you have to take. See, this is 60 degrees, this is 60, this is 60. Now this is a straight line, so this is again 120 total. That means this is 60, this is 60. But these two vectors, F1, F2, we want angle between them, that is 120 degrees. So here cos 120 degrees we have to take. Cos 120 degrees is how much? Cos 120 degrees is minus 1. Cos of 120 minus half, right? So it is minus cos 60, so it is minus half. So this 2 and that minus of will cancel. We'll get minus f square. So you have 2f square minus f square. Effectively fr is f. That is equal to this number. So the direction they did not ask in the question, so no need to bother. The only thing they are asking is the magnitude, and that is 1.8 into 10 power minus 4 Newton we are getting. So that is the answer. 1.8 into 10 power minus 4 Newtons. Right. The next question, the distance between two ions, same positive charge, is 5 angstrom units. And electric force acting on them is 3.7 into 10 power minus 9 Newton. Then the electron lost by each ion is. Okay, so here we have what we have is two unknown ions. And their distance is 5 angstrom, the force is given. What is the electron loss? That means we have to first find out the charge. Right. So the force here is given as 3.7 into 10 power minus 9 Newton. The force is 3.7 into 10 power minus 9 Newton. This is the force between the two ions. The distance is given as 5 into 10 power, no, 0.5 or 5 angstrom. So 5 into 10 power minus 10 meters. The charges are not known, but the charges are equal, they are telling us. So basically we have to write 3.7 into 10 power minus 9, that is the force, is equal to k into, k is 10 power 9 into 10 power 9 into q square, the charges are equal, divided by the distance square, which is 25 into 10 power minus 20. So basically 25 into 3.7 into 10 power minus 29 is equal to 9 into 10 power 9 into q squared. We want q squared is equal to 25 into 3.7 divided by 9 into 10 power minus 38, it will become minus 29, 10 power minus 9, the 9 and goes to numerator as minus 9. So q square, if you do, you will get 10.28 for this, 10.28 into 10 power minus 38. Q is therefore going to be equal to 3.21 into 10 power minus 19 coulomb. This is the charge. So the ion has lost how much charge? That means positive to become a positive ion. 2, 3, 1, 4. These are the choices. Now this is 3.2. This is total charge. So the number of electrons N is equal to Q by E. So 3.21 divided by 1.6, if you do, into 10 power 19 will cancel. You will get 2. So the answer is second. This first choice, 2. Right. Next question, 36th question. The Earth and Moon has same type of and equal magnitude of charge. Same type and equal magnitude. To balance the gravitational force between Earth and Moon, the required magnitude of the charge is. So this is just an imaginary thing. That suppose the two objects are charged and the gravitational force will try to bring them together, but the electrostatic force should cause repulsion so that they are held at some distance, equilibrium distance. For that to happen, how much charge is required? That is the question. So for this, all we have to do is equate two forces. One is the force of gravitation and the other is the electrostatic force or Coulomb's force. Fg, if you calculate, G into m1 m2 by r squared, which is equal to 6.67 into 10 power minus 11 into the masses are given here. For the Earth, it is 6 into 10 power 24, 10 power 24 kg. and for the moon it is given as 7.36 into 10 power 22 divided by the distance square. Whatever is the distance, it is not given, so we can keep it as distance square. Then the electrostatic force K into Q squared, because same charge they are telling, equal magnitude, so KQ square by R square, which is 9 into 10 power 9 into the charges are required for us, so again R square. If these two forces are equal, then we can equate these two equations, cancel R square straight away in the denominator, rearrange the terms so that we can get Q square as 6.67 into 2 into 7.36 into 10 power 26 divided by 3. Again, if you work it out, you get 32.73 into 10 power 26. Therefore, Q will be root of this, that is going to be 5.72 into 10 power 13 coulomb. So that is the amount of charge that is required to keep this in balance. So among the choices that is given, the third choice is matching. Right. The 37th question, plus Q and minus Q charges are put on diametric endpoints of a circle of diameter D. Then the force on the third charge plus Q, which is at the center of the circle, is. So here there is a circle and two charges are kept. One is plus Q, the other one is minus Q. Now a third charge is brought. They are at diametric opposite ends of the circle. Along the diameter, two opposite ends we have to select. Now the third charge is coming and sitting somewhere here, and that also is a positive charge, plus Q, such that the net force on these two charges is what is given. What is the net force? That is the question. What is the net force? So net force, F net, let us call this, is equal to sum of the two forces. This force will be repulsive. So at the center point plus Q charge is there, let us call this some center point C or something. It's not center actually, but let us call the center. Now this left side charge is repelling it like this, and the right side charge also is attracting it towards itself. So the two forces are going to add, that is the net force, that is K is common to both, and Q square for the first pair divided by the diameter is D, let us call this D, diameter D they are given. Radius is half of the distance, so it is D by 2 whole square, so it is going to be D square by 4. Similarly for the other one, Q square divided by D square by 4, direction is to the right. Direction of the net force is going to be towards the right. So this is going to be 4K Q square by D square plus same 4K Q, so it is going to be 8. So your answer is going to be 8K Q square by D square. That is choice 1. Right. 38th question. If two unlike charges of same magnitude are placed at certain distance, the force between them is F. If 25% of electric charge is moved from one charge to the other one, then the force between them becomes what? That is the question. So initially let us call the force is F, and the charges are they are unlike charges, that is one is positive, the other one is negative. Let us call them Q each. Then the force will be K into Q squared divided by some distance R squared. This is F. Now the new force will be, when 25% is removed from one to the other, it is going to be K into, the first charge is Q, and it is getting another 25 negative charge, because if two charges, one is positive Q and the other one is negative Q, you have to take from negative to positive you give, 25%, this becomes 0.75 q. This becomes minus 0.75 q because it is losing quarter of its charge to the other one. The other one positive, so it is balancing or neutralizing the 25% of its own charge, so it becomes 0.75. This also becomes minus 0.75. So it is basically going to be no longer q. It is going to be only 0.75 of the original q. So here it is going to be 3 by 4 q. The other one is minus 3 by 4 q divided by r square. So f prime is going to be 9 by 16 kq square by r square. So it is f prime is going to be equal to 9 by 16th of the original force. So among the choices, 9 by 16 is the last one. So choice 4 is the correct one. Right. The next one is 39th is charge q is placed at each of the opposite vertices of a square. So two charges are there, both are capital Q, they are placed at opposite vertices of a square. Similarly charged small q is placed at each of the two other opposite vertices. The net electric force on the charge q is 0. Then what is the ratio q by q, capital Q by small q? So here there is a square, and let us call this A, B, C, D. Here there is capital Q, here also there is capital Q. Here there is small q and here there is small q. Now the force on one of the capital Q is 0. Then what is the ratio of capital Q to small q? That is the question. So the net force on capital Q, let us call this Q at A point, at A, is 3 forces. This is going to be like this force. This force is going to be like this. So the resultant is going to be like this for these two. Now this force is going to also be like this resultant. Right. So the distances are, let us call this A, sides as A, and then this distance is going to be root 2A. This is also A. Then we can see that the net force F net is going to be two equal forces. Let us call this F1 and F2, and the third force let us call this as F3. That is going to be, therefore F1 is equal to F2. If you do the resultant for that F1 and F2, it is going to be F1 and F2 are equal, so F square plus F square plus 2 F square cos 90. So this term will vanish, so you are effectively getting root 2 F for these two. The third one, therefore the net is root 2 F plus F3. The third one is different, it's a different force. So F3 is, again you can write separately anyway. F net is therefore root 2 times the F, that is K into capital Q small q by the distance A square, and the third one is K into capital Q square divided by 2A square. Therefore if you add it all up, you will get F net as 2 root 2 KQQ plus KQ square divided by 2A square, which is, if you take KQ out commonly, F net is equal to KQ into, even 2A square you can take out, inside the bracket 2 root 2 Q plus capital Q. This is going to be equal to 0. This cannot be 0. This is not equal to 0. So this must be equal to 0. Then only the product will be 0. So basically 2 root 2 Q plus capital Q is equal to 0. Therefore Q is equal to minus 2 root 2 into Q. Here Q by Q we want, so it is minus 2 root 2. Minus 2 root 2. That is the answer. That is given as third choice. Right. 40th question. 2 point charges Q and 2Q. 2 and 2Q, Q and 2Q are placed in air at a distance d. If third electric charge capital Q is kept on the line joining the two charges such that the resultant force on the each of the charges Q and 2Q becomes 0, then the distance of the charge Q from the charge is how much? This is the question. So here basically there are already two charges. One is just Q, the other one is 2Q, and another third charge is brought in. The third charge is called capital Q. It is kept in between these two so that somewhere it is kept so that the force on this and this becomes 0. Under what condition this will happen is the question. If the distance is, total distance is small d. Let us call the distance at which the third charge is kept is as x. Then the remaining distance will become d minus x. Then we can equate the forces and try to solve this one. Right. So now the net force is, in this case, is 0 because then only there will be balance. So the net force F net is equal to 0. That F net will be equal to K into, first pair is KQQ. So KQQ divided by the distance is x square. Minus the second pair is KQQ divided by the distance is now d minus x whole square. This is equal to 0. Therefore, what we will have K, yes, 2Q ఇచ్చారా మనకి Q తీసుకున్నామా రాంగ్ 2Q తీసుకోవాలి కరెక్ట్ 2KQQ that is correct, you are correct. Right, so ఇక్కడ KQQ cancel, common things will cancel, remaining thing will be there, so the KQQ cancels, so it is 1 by x square is equal to 2 by d minus x whole square. So you have to take a root on both sides, right? So we can take 1 by x as root 2 divided by d minus x. So d minus x is root 2 times x. If you take the x to the other side and commonly you take it x out, d is equal to root 2 plus 1 into x. So x is d divided by root 2 plus 1. This is what we are getting. So that is second choice, d divided by root 2 plus 1. Right. Now here positive charge on two conducting spheres is Q1 and Q2. These two spheres are brought close to each other such that after touching each other they return back to their original positions. How much will be the force between them in the new situation? So what is this question here? Positive charges on two conducting spheres are both going to repel each other. Now the magnitude of the charge is not same, it is Q1 and Q2. Somehow they are brought together, that means external force is applied to push them together. Because they are both positive, they will anyway repel each other. But still some pressure is given so that they come together and they are momentarily touching each other. And then again they are left to go free. Again they go to the original positions. Somehow we don't even know whether the charges are shared or not. Any change has occurred or not, we don't know. They have not given any information. Only the positions have not changed. Simple, the positions have not changed means the force of repulsion between the two will be now same. Because the two charges are going to get accelerated because of the force between them. And even after acceleration they come to the same equilibrium position, that means the force has remained the same. Whether it is really possible or not is a different question, but depending on what is given, The answer is force remains the same as before the spheres were in contact. So definitely charge transfer has not occurred, the charges have not changed, and hence the force has retained. That is what we have to conclude based on this. Right, so this choice is 1 for this. Right, 42. Two particles of masses in the ratio 1:2 with the charges in the ratio 1:1 are placed at rest in a uniform electric field. So whenever there is a field and a charge, you have to remember the force, that is Lorentz force. They are released and allowed to move for the same time. So the time for which the charges are allowed to move is same, and their mass ratio is 1:2, but the charge ratio is 1:1. That means they have the same charge. Kinetic energy ratio they are asking. Let us try to see. Kinetic energy ratio. We know the formula for kinetic energy, that is half mv squared. But what about velocity? Here is the question that we have to think about it. What are the things that will change? Because mass is there, one thing that will influence, but what else will change is the question now we have to ask. Is there anything else that will change? What will change? Right? So that we have to think. Right, since force is the same, this mass on the ratio is mass m1 plus m1 m1 is to m2 is given as 1:2, I think. So that is 1:2. Q1 by Q2 is 1:1. Now the electrostatic force is E into E, that is same. Therefore the mass into acceleration is E into E for the first charge. For the second charge, the mass into acceleration is again E into E. So basically we can equate these two. Right. Again, the kinetic energy, let us call this E for the time being, that E is equal to half mv square. For the first charge, I can write it as half m1 v1 squared, which is again, if I multiply by m1 and divide by m1, I will get p1 squared by 2m. 1. This is for E1, kinetic energy for the first one. Voice break అవుతుందమ్మా, ఎందుకని? మిగిలిన వాళ్ళకి వాయిస్ కరెక్ట్గా ఉందా, బ్రేక్ అవుతుందా? అంటే అక్కడ ఇందాక స్పీకర్ ఎవరమ్మా, స్నేహానమ్మా, ఎవరు చెప్పారు వాయిస్ ప్రాబ్లం? మీ స్పీకర్ చెక్ చేయండి ఒకసారి. మీ మైక్రోఫోన్ లేదా స్పీకర్లో ఏమైనా ఇష్యూస్ ఉండొచ్చు, చూడండి ఒకసారి. సో సెకండ్ కైనెటిక్ ఎనర్జీ ఈజ్ half into m2 v2 squared, half mv squared. So this is going to be, I can write it as in terms of momentum as p2 squared by 2m1. Now when they are allowed to move in the same electric field, these two equations are going to be equated, right? Under that condition, definitely the momentums are going to be same, because mass one is less. Whichever has a less mass will travel with higher velocity in the same force. The force is same. Now whichever has higher mass, that will travel slower, but momentum will retain constant. So P1 is going to be equal to P2, that is equal to P. Therefore the kinetic energy is inversely proportional to the mass. So because mass is here in the denominator and momentum being same, therefore we can conclude that the ratio of kinetic energy E1 to E2 is going to be inverse ratio of the masses, that is m2 by m1. The masses originally m1 by m2 is 1 by 2, so m2 by m1 is 2 by 1. So the kinetic energy ratio is going to be 2:1. That is the conclusion we can arrive at, and that is given as a choice here, choice 1. So 42 answer is choice 1. 43rd question, mass of a bob of simple pendulum is 80 milligrams, not even gram but milligram, and the charge is 20 nanocoulomb. It is suspended by a string in a horizontal electric field of intensity 2 into 10 power 4 newtons per coulomb. In equilibrium, the angle made with the vertical direction and the tension force arising in the string is how much? So two things they are asking. See, there is a bob that is suspended in an electric field. Now this is not a normal bob, this is a charged bob. So it is a simple pendulum with not only mass but also charge. It is suspended from this point. Now there is an electric field that is acting on this charge. That electric field is given as 2 into 10 power 4 newtons per coulomb. Now what is going to happen to this bob? This is definitely going to be affected by the force and it is going to move. So this is, let us say, moving like this. The new position because of the force. Now it is making an angle theta. Now they want this theta. How much is this theta that is required? And the string has to have some tension T. How much is the tension? They are asking this. So these are the two things we have to find out. First and foremost is, this is a charged bob. The force on the charged bob is going to be Q into E. If the charge is Q. So the force is going to be Q into E. That is electrostatic force. Of course, charge as the bob has mass also. So there is going to be mg force also acting down. So if I call this as tension, I can just draw this alone now. There is going to be an mg. And this is the tension direction. So there is going to be mg. And that is going to be balanced by, mg is going to be balanced by the tension component, one component of the tension. And this is creating an angle theta here. So here this is angle, this also angle is going to be theta. This force is going to be countered by our electrostatic force. This force is countered by our gravitational pull. So I can write this as component of theta here in this side is T cos theta. So T cos theta is going to be equated to mg. T sin theta is a horizontal component here, which is going to be equated to the Lorentz force, that is charge times the electric field, Q into E. Because this is going to act to move it like this, QE. Right? So of course positive charge, so here it is actually, it should be this way, right? Okay, anyway, so components are like this. Now we can do one thing. M is given as 80 into 80 milligrams. So m is 80 into 10 power, milli to gram is 10 power minus 3, milli to kilogram is 10 power minus 6 kg. G we can take as 9.8 or 10, let us say. And electric field is given, charge is given as 20 nanocoulomb, so 20 into 10 power minus 9 coulomb. So all we have to do is to equate these things to get the result. So first what we can do, first we can try to get the theta. So T cos theta is equal to mg, which is equal to 80 into 10 power minus 6 multiplied by another 10. That is going to be 8 into 10 power minus 4. So I write in bracket 8 into 10 power minus 4. QE is going to be 20 into 10 power minus 9 into 2, so 40 into 10 power minus 5, or 4 into 10 power minus 4. This is also Newton, this is also Newton, both are force units. Now first let's say I want angle. So what I can do, I can take this equation as 1, this as 2, 1 by 2 I can do. 1 by 2 I can do, then cos by sin. No, I can better do 2 by 1. Let us do 2 by 1. 2 by 1 if I do, I will get a t and t will cancel. Sin theta by cos theta is tan theta. Tan theta is going to be equal to 4 by 8. 4 by 8 is 1 by 2 or 0.5. Of course 10 power minus 4, 10 power minus 4 will cancel. So tan theta is 0.5. Tan inverse of 0.5 is theta. Therefore, theta is roughly 27 degrees. So straight away I don't have to even work out further, because all the 4 choices, if I see 27 degrees third choice, the answer is third choice. I will not even work out further. Suppose if there are 2 choices with 27, then I have to confirm the second thing, that is tension. Tension can be easily worked out. How can we work out tension here? We can square it, left side right side square, and do that. That is one way of doing it. Or simply substitute in the first equation t into sine theta is second equation, right? So t sine 27 degrees is 4 into 10 power minus 4. Therefore t is equal to 4 into 10 power minus 4 divided by sine 27. Sine 27 is roughly how much? Sine 30 is half. So we can say that it is close to half. It is going to be less than half, let us say. So if I check it exactly, it is 0.45. So 4 divided by 0.45. That is going to be t is equal to, therefore, 8.8 into 10 power minus 4 Newton. This is the tension. So third choice is the answer. Right. 44th question. If a particle of mass 1 gram and charge 5 microcoulomb is moved with a velocity of 20 meters per second in direction opposite to the direction of the electric field of intensity 2 into 10 power 5 Newton per coulomb, then how much distance is travelled by the particle before coming to rest? So that is the question. So it is a matter of a charge travelling in an electric field, right? So basically acceleration we know. First we can calculate the acceleration. The mass is given as 1 kilogram, not 1 kilogram, 1 gram actually, right? So it is mass is equal to 1 into 10 power minus 3 kilogram. The charge is 5 microcoulomb, so 5 into 10 power minus 6 coulomb. The velocity v is 20 meters per second, right? The velocity is given as 20 meters per second, and the electric field is given here is 2 into 10 power 5 Newton per coulomb. This is the electric field that is given. So all we have to do is acceleration. The mass into acceleration is the force on the charged particle, and that is equal to q times e, which is the Lorentz force. Here charge is 5 into 10 power minus 6 multiplied by the electric field 2 into 10 power 5. This is going to be 10 into 10 power minus 1. How much it is? 10 power minus 1, 10. So it's going to be 1. Isn't it? Yeah. So 1. This is mass. Mass is also known, 10 power minus 3. So 10 power minus 3 into A is 1. A is 10 power 3 meters per second square. This is just the acceleration we have got. Now what we want? We want the distance through which it is traveling. So we know v square is 2as. S is the distance, that is going to be equal to v square over 2a. Velocity is given as 20 meters per second, square it is 400 divided by 2 times 10 power 3 is the acceleration. If you do it, it is 200 divided by 10 power 3, which is 0.2 meters, the distance. So that is the answer 4. 44th is 4. Right. 45th question. Charges minus q and plus 2q are placed at a, 0 and minus a, 0. The points where the electric field is 0 will lie in. So basically there are 2 charges. One charge is plus 2q and I think the other one is minus 2q. What is given? The other one is minus q, and minus q is placed at a, 0. minus q, let us call this, and this point is a comma 0 in the x-axis. 2q is placed at minus a comma 0. Now the distance here is minus a to a. So minus a to 0, 0 to a, it's 2a. Distance is 2a. This is how it is given now. Now, where electric field will become 0? At what point electric field will become 0? That is the question. So what we can do, how we can do this? All we have to do is to try to get net electric field due to both the charges and then see where it goes to 0 by applying the condition. Right? So we can basically write electric field due to the first one, that is k into 2q divided by the distance. We don't know the distance, so let us assume the distance as x squared, therefore distance squared, minus electric field due to the second one is q only. So it's q, distance we don't know. We can write it is, let us say, 2a minus x. Why? The total distance is 2a. Somewhere x we are first assuming, unknown distance. So it is 2a minus x is the remaining distance. If this is x, this is going to be 2a minus x. kq will cancel. 2 by x square. So again we have to take root 2 by x, which is equal to, this is equal to 0 of course. So we will get a 1 by 2a minus x. So if you rearrange the terms, 2a minus x into root 2 is x. 2 root 2a minus root 2x is equal to x. We wanted x only. So if you take it to the other side, it is going to be 2 root 2a is equal to root 2 plus 1 into x. Therefore, x is going to be equal to 2 root 2a divided by root 2 plus 1. Now this is definitely x is greater than a. Why? Because 2 root 2 is 2 into 1.414, it is 2.828 a divided by 1.414 plus 1 is 2.414. Now this is 2.8 by 2.4, which is greater than 1. So x is greater than a. That means at any point x greater than a, somewhere here only, somewhere on the right side of this, somewhere here only, electric field will go to 0. So that is the condition we are getting. So here among the choices that is given, that matches with which one? X greater than a, third choice. So it is matching with the third choice. So that is the answer for this. Right. 45th question. The intensity of the electric field and its direction due to a point charge of 10 microcoulomb at a point P, which is 50 centimeter away is. So direct straightforward this is. The charge is 10 microcoulomb charge. The distance r is 50 centimeter. What is the electric field? Direction nothing is asked. So it is basically k into q divided by r square, which is 9 into 10 power 9 into the charge is 10 microcoulomb. So 10 into 10 power minus 6 divided by the distance is 0.5 squared, because 50 centimeter is 0.5 meters. So you'll get 0.25. So that is going to be 0.25 is 1 by 4. So take it to numerator, it becomes 9 into 4. So that is going to be 36 into 10 power. This is going to be 10 power 10, 10 power minus 6. So it is going to be 10 power 4. So 3.6 into 10 power 5. That is the answer. Newtons per coulomb unit. This is the electric field. Right. The next one, two charges 10 microcoulomb and 20 microcoulomb, they are given here, are separated by distance of 50 centimeters. What is the magnitude and direction E at 3 points A, B and C which are at distance x is equal to 0 centimeter, x is equal to 75 centimeter, and x is equal to 150 centimeter respectively. To the left of Q1, in between Q1 and Q2, B, and then to the right of Q3, that is C. These are the 3 points where electric field is required due to two charges. So all we have to do is at each point we have to calculate the electric field due to both the charges and see the direction, and then try to solve this. So it's very simple. I think we have done the same thing, a similar problem in the class also. So basically that is all we have to do is separately just to calculate the electric fields. At A, for example, E of A, if I calculate, what we will get? K is common anyway to both the charges. The first charge is a 10 microcoulomb charge. So we will have 10 into 10 power minus 6. The distance to the A point and this charge is going to be 50 centimeter, I think. So that is 50 centimeter is 0.5 meter, square is 0.25. Plus the second charge is 20 microcoulomb charge, so 20 into 10 power minus 6. And the distance is 1 meter, so 1 meter square is 1. So if you do it, 9 into 10 power 9 into LCM, if you take 1, this is 4 times, so it is going to be 40 into 10 power minus 6, plus this is 20 into 10 power minus 6. So that is going to be 60 into 10 power minus 6. So total you will get 540 into 10 power 3 Newton per coulomb. Now direction, which one will dominate? This is 40, this is 20 only. So this will dominate. And this is a positive charge, and point A is to the left of it if you see the diagram. A is to the left and this is positive charge, so this will push it towards left. What about the other one? The other one also is push it towards the left only. So the direction of the vectors are here, no confusion, both are towards the left. So if you want to write it, it is 540 into 10 power 3 to the left. Direction is to the left, because we are not telling x, y, z and all. Even if you want to say it is x-axis, you can write minus I. Direction is towards left, so it's minus I. This is how you have to do that. Similarly for the second one, if you do, there the distances are, see, center, B is at the center. Left side charge is at a 25 centimeter gap. Right side charge is also 25 centimeter gap. But left is only 10 microcoulomb, whereas right is 20 microcoulomb. So which one will dominate? This one will dominate. So again the direction in this case also is going to be to the left, and this is minus I again, and the magnitude, if you calculate, it is going to be whatever is given, I think 4320 newtons per coulomb you get. Into 10 power 3 will be there, yes, into 10 power 3. This is the answer. Similarly for the third one, to the right if you do, that is point C is to the right. The distance is here 50 centimeter from the second charge and 100 centimeter from the first charge. So again if you work it out, you will get EC if you work out, you will get K into 10 microcoulomb charge, 10 microcoulomb is at 1 meter distance, plus 20 microcoulomb, that is at 50 centimeter distance, or 0.5 meter, that is 0.5 square is 0.25. Again if you work out, you will get the same number, 9 into 10 power 9. If you take LCM, you will get 10 into 10 power minus 6, LCM is 1, plus this is 4 times, so 80 into 10 power minus 6 you will get, and divide by 1 only anyway, so it's round. Now this if you multiply 9 into 888, 10 plus 8 is 90, 9 into 90 is 810, 810 into 10 power 3 you will get newtons per coulomb. Now the direction which is going to dominate, this is going to dominate, and this is a positive charge, it will push the point to the right. So this is direction is to the right, positive I, x-axis, so positive I. This is how you can indicate direction for each of the 3 cases. So all you have to see is check the vector. This is positive charge, so arrow will be pointing away. The point is to the right, so arrow will be towards it. So the direction will be to the right. Same for the other one. Now the next question you see, 48th question. In the previous problem, calculate the electric field at those 3 points A, B, C. The charge Q2 is minus 20 microcoulomb. Now you must have worked out, I think already. If it is minus 20 coulomb, minus 20 microcoulomb, then for the left point, one charge will be pulling away, the other one will be pushing. But this is the nearer charge, distance is half the distance, half the charge. But the distance is more square, right? So this charge will dominate. So direction will be left. And the middle point, again charge will dominate because distance now becomes equal, the charge will dominate, so it will be right. Third one, this is again going to pull it, this is going to push it, so to the left. Like that you have to decide the direction. Magnitudes will be, you can calculate similar it will be. Only directions are changing. I think you must have worked out this also. So from this it is just a small change. Right. 49th question, 3 charges are there, plus Q, minus Q and plus Q. They are arranged in the corners of a square of side A. What is the electric field at the fourth corner of the square? So basically here we have 3 charges. They are occupying the 3 corners of a square. Fourth corner is empty. No charge is there. Only electric field is asked in that corner. So let us call this corner as A. Let us call this as B and C. Then D is where no charge is there, let us say. So we can say that here it is plus Q charge is given. Minus Q is given second corner. Third corner again plus Q is there. And what about this point D? The electric field at D is what is required. Now straight away we can say that this is a positive charge, so it is going to be to the right. This is also another positive charge, so electric field direction is to the top. Therefore, the resultant for this is like this. So this is I vector, this is J vector. Therefore, the resultant will be I plus J vector. Now what about this Q? Q is a negative charge. It is going to pull this point down. This arrow will therefore be along the direction minus I and minus J. So it is minus I plus J. Now which one will dominate, that we have to calculate the magnitude and find out. So a resultant direction of the electric field, whether it will be down or up, we have to calculate the magnitudes and confirm. So let us say that the electric field ED at the point D is equal to EA plus EB. That is electric field due to the charge at A, charge at B, and electric field due to the charge at C. Now here also, these two, due to A and due to C, these two vectors are equal. One is pointing to the right, the other one is pointing to the up. The resultant we want, let us call this ER. Now this ER is going to be, therefore, it is equal to root 2 of E, because they are equal. And what is this E that we are talking about? E is the simple electric field between the 2 points, that is K into charge is Q, so KQ divided by the distance, let us say square as the distance A and A. So this is going to be A squared. This is the electric field. But now what about this distance? This is diagonal, so it is root 2A. This distance is root 2A. So that square is 2A square. So the electric field EC, therefore, EB rather, EB, this point is B, right? So the B is going to be K into Q divided by 2A squared, and the direction is minus I plus J. Now what we have to do? We have to just sum up all the terms. So ER if you want to write, therefore ER, how will you write? ER is directly, because equal vectors I am directly writing root 2 into KQ divided by A squared root 2E. Direction is I plus J. That is, this direction is I plus J. That is this direction. This is I plus J. So now I plus J, I minus J, which one will dominate? We have to see. Anyway, we can just, because one has negative sign, we can directly also separate out the terms and write. So if you separate out the terms totally, the electric field at the point D will be a vector sum of the electric field due to the resultant vector plus the electric field due to the point B. the charge at the point B. Together if you write, you will write root 2 kq by a squared I direction plus root 2 kq by a square j direction, because I am separating out I and j and all, minus, because here there is a minus sign, kq by 2a squared I minus kq by 2a squared j. Now we can say I and I we can combine, similarly j and j we can combine and write one single one single expression, that is going to be electric field E at D is equal to kq by a square. I am taking out common from this. Inside the bracket, therefore, I will have root 2. The next one I will have only 1 by 2, because kq a square has been taken out. So root 2 minus 1 by 2 into I, plus second one, again if I take out kq by a squared out, I will again have root 2 minus 1 by 2 into j now. So definitely this is some positive number, this is also a positive number, and I, j, and these are all positive quantities. Therefore the resultant vector ED has a direction along the I plus j vector. So in the original square, therefore the direction of the resultant vector is I plus j. This is the direction, I cap plus j cap direction, because the other one is minus I plus j bracket. That is not dominating, that is less than this I plus j, so I plus j dominates, the resultant direction also is I plus j. This is how we can conclude it. Right. Now the last question, calculate the frequency of revolution of electron in hydrogen atom subjected to an electric field of its nucleus. The nucleus electron distance is 0.5 into 10 power minus 10 meter, that is 0.5 angstrom. Frequency of revolution is required for the electron. So basically what we need a new, some kind of new in Hertz units we need, right? So what do we know in hydrogen atom? The central thing is a proton. The electron is going around the proton in a circular orbit, assumedly. The distance here is given as 0.5 angstrom, which is of course R. R is 0.5 into 10 power minus 10 meters. This is what is given. Therefore, they are asking us to get the frequency of that rotation. How many times the electron will go around per second the proton? That is the question that is asked. Now here in this case, first what can we do? We can calculate the electric field due to this proton, right, at this point on the electron, which is at a distance of r. So the electric field E is therefore K into, K is 9 into 10 power 9 into the charge. Which charge? The charge of the proton, E, which is of course, we can straight away write the charge as 1.6, because charge of the proton is the same as that of the electron. So it is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19, right? kq by r squared, 0.5 squared, that is 0.25, and 10 power minus 10 is there, square it, 10 power minus 20. So if you solve it, this is going to be 1/4, so 36. So yeah, what you have is 36 into 1.6 into 10 power, this 20, this 19, 10 power minus 1 will remain. Go to the numerator, 10 power 10. So if you work it out, electric field is going to be about 57.6 into 10 power 10 or 5.76 into 10 power 11. This is the electric field that we are getting. Now, what we want to equate the forces. Why? Because this is going around because of the forces only, right? So this electric field will have a force on this electron, that is Lorentz force. That is going to be E into E, and that is going to be equal to the centrifugal force, which is m r omega square, because we want nu. We can get nu from omega only. So therefore our omega square is equal to E into E divided by m into r, which is equal to 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 into this electric field whatever we have calculated, that is 5.76 into 10 power 11 divided by mass of the electron, that is 9.11 into 10 power minus 31 into the distance, which is 0.5 into 10 power minus 10. This is going to give us omega square. So if you do the numbers, you will get finally omega square as 2 into 10 power 33, or 20 into 10 power 32 you can write and get omega as 4.47 into 10 power 16, because 33 when you take root you will get 16. So omega is 10 power 16. That is what you will get, right? Right. So right, so this is the omega value. So from here you can get easily frequency. Frequency is nu is equal to 4.47 into 10 power 16 divided by 2 pi. So 2 into 3.142, that is going to be nu. So if you do this, you will get 7.11, because this is going to be 0.711. So you will get 7.11 into 10 power 15 hertz. That is what you are going to get as the answer for the frequency. So that is the expected this thing. So this way most of the problems are, you have, if you know the technique, you can easily answer. That is how questions are set. But just I don't know how many of you source code. Shashank, how much you got? Why it is less only? 48 is not very high. Why you should have crossed 60 at least? You are doing well in the class, so you can do better, improve it. Teja Kiran, how much you got? Teja Kiran is not even answering. Why everybody is less than that? I don't know, less than 50 how we are getting? Easily you can cross 50 for this question paper. Because ideas are already, we have discussed all the ideas, right? Same based on those ideas only questions. Okay, no, very good. 53 is okay, good. 50 if you cross at least, right? With practice you will improve anyway. Because question paper is not very tough. It is a average question paper, so to say. In this topic it is average, but because when you go out to advanced electrostatics, tough ones will be there, right? Tough questions will be there. That time you have to. This is just Coulomb's law and superposition principle basics only, right? So here you should be able to comfortably do it, most of the things. Anyway, practice more, keep practicing. Tomorrow we will continue with our continuous charge distribution. Tomorrow we are going to start the new topic, right? Some advanced problems are there, we will do. Today I think I will stop here. Okay.